right, welcome back to Mind Over Emotions, the podcast. This is episode 12. First, I'd like to thank you guys for supporting the podcast. And if you have not already yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like the page as well. If you haven't yet, as always, follow us on Instagram at Mind Over Emotions _BDP. And then follow us on TikTok as well at Mind Over Emotions, the podcast. So today I'm going to do this introduction a little different because the person I'm interviewing today, I'm super excited to interview. It's one of my closest friends, probably my favorite gym person / powerlifter. So we got Kay Gray. This is your last name, right? Gray?
Yeah.
All right. State champion, occupational therapist, powerlifting referee, Southern girl. I would say religious, but not religious. I ain't gonna get into that. But how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
See, look at this smile. You're already smiling.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Just happy
Always.
to be here.
That's why I like you, man, because you're always so happy, man. You said you grew up in Cary, North Carolina, right?
Yes.
How was growing up in Cary?
It was quiet. It was easy. It was simple. I didn't get into a lot of trouble. Didn't have a lot of trouble thrust on me.
Okay. It's kind of ironic too because I spent a little bit of time in North Carolina. I want to say, well, I guess I could say I kind of grew up there. Well, no, I guess I would say I grew up in not California, in North Carolina. I spent a lot of time in like the Harnett County area. And then I did, like my sister for a little while, she lived up in Cary, not Cary, was it Cary? I think it was like the Cary Apex area.
Yeah.
She lived up there. And then for a quick hot minute, I stayed out in Fuquay Arena.
Yeah.
So that's kind of crazy. We're kind of close, and now we live in the same state again. What brought you to Washington?
I was traveling for my work. I was doing short-term contracts across the U.S., and I just landed here in Washington. I really liked it here, and I found a job I enjoyed, and so just stayed.
So almost like how like nurses do, like travel nurses?
Exactly. Same exact thing.
I heard that when you do that like there's way more money in that than there is in just having like a contract at the hospital.
There can be. Depends on how you.
You know what I found? You know what I found out too? I found out that nurses they don't have like a retirement plan because they're like independent contractors.
If you do the travel, yep. You don't have benefits. You don't have 401k. You don't have health insurance, anything like that. So you have to pay for all those things out.
Yeah, because like for a little while when I lived in Virginia, in Richmond, Virginia, I worked at Tucker Pavilion, and I was PRN there. And you make more money as PRN, but you have no benefits, no guaranteed hours. But you can. It's crazy because you don't have like a set schedule. But I was working more hours than the people who were full time. I was making way more money than them, even though they made a higher hourly rate. So. But growing up for you, did you grow up with both your parents at home?
I did. My parents are still married. 42 years of marriage.
42 years?
They are a good example of what a nice marriage can be.
All right. Before we get into that marriage, so normally, whoever my guests on here, we usually drink like some type of hard liquor. But for Kay, I had to pull out the good old wine. I heard this is your favorite wine.
It is. Kayla has a really good memory.
Yeah, man. I went through some loops to get this, man. Some hoops to get this. And when I mean hoops, meaning I didn't actually go get it. A big shout out to my mom. I had to, get her to go get it for me because I've been busy, so busy. But yeah, before we get into it, let's crack this open. I never had it before. Let me ask you this: is it a sweet wine, a rough wine, one of them dry wines?
I'm really bad at knowing what those words actually mean. I know when I like a wine and when I don't like a wine. It's not super sweet.
So is it closer to like Moscato?
No.
Okay.
And so like its type, it's a Pinot Noir, which is normally a red, but as you can see, it's obviously white. And so it's lighter than that, obviously, but it still has some of those darker like flavors that a Pinot Noir does.
That ain't even. So when we were doing the scheduling, I would say, of this, I asked you if you wanted to drink with me, and you said you preferred wine. Why do you prefer wine over liquor?
This is gonna sound old. It settles on my stomach better. It's literally just a stomach thing.
Oh wow. Okay. Wine is like a creep up for me. I like wine like Moscatos and stuff like that. But wine really does creep up on you. And I had a bad experience with wine. Before we get into your story, I'll tell you about it. I was stationed in Florida at Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. Oh yeah.
Sure. Okay.
I was stationed in Florida at Eglin Air Force Base, and we decided to have a little kind of like kickback, and we were playing cards and stuff, and then I wasn't a drinker or anything, so I didn't know. I went to the store and like the corner store and bought some. I seen it said I had alcohol in it, so it was actually some red wine from the gas station.
Nice. It probably in a box.
No, no,
Okay.
no. But they did give it to me in a paper bag, and I'm not gonna lie, I felt hella cool because I seen all the movies like the winos and stuff with the paper bag. So I was like, oh yeah, this is the right stuff. Man, we started drinking that, and everything was good until someone knocked on my door. We were playing cards. I remember somebody knocking on my door, and then the next thing you know, I stood up to go open the door, and I just said,
"Oh no!"
and woke up the next day. And ever since then, red wine has made my stomach like just turn just smelling it. So, yeah, I won't be drinking any red wine. So, how was you growing up? Like, how was it growing up for you? I know you said your parents were together for 42 years. That's crazy. I'll say that again. How was it in your household? You a single kid? I mean, the only kid?
No, I have an older brother who's 3 years older than me. We were not a perfect family, but we did go to church a lot. We did try to live out our lives as Christians, try to keep our peace, try to love on others, but we weren't perfect. I was an overachiever. I tried to do everything right. I did good in school.
Okay. Um, I know also too. You spoke about how you went to therapy as a kid. How was that?
So I went to therapy when my brother was having some behavioral issues, and it kind of affected the whole family. And so it was kind of like started noticing that it was affecting the whole family, and my parents just said, "Hey, we're going to therapy. Why don't we have you check in too?" So I went a couple times, learned from their therapist, and kind of got to see some things about how my role in my family dynamics. I was kind of like the holder of the love. That's what they called me.
I think you hold that even now, man.
Probably.
You know what I call you behind your back?
Oh no.
I call you the godmother of powerlifting.
Oh, okay. I could take that. Yeah, for sure.
For Spedway Fitness, big shout out to Spedway Fitness. The reason why is because around you, you have so many people who are friends with you and people who just love K, right?
Yeah.
But all of us around us, we all are up and down, beefing, not beefing, drama. But you're in the core of it, and you just kind of keep us all together.
And that's how it was growing up, pretty much.
Like literally, like I'm not gonna say their names, but like there might be somebody in the gym who like I'm not cool with, right? Or like I'm not gonna say I'm not cool with anybody in the gym. Let's just get that on record right now. I have no problem with nobody in the gym. But there's times where we're bumping heads, but I have not yet seen one person who is bumping heads with K ever. Like you're always just I don't even want to say the life of the party. You're the heart of the gym. You and Sherman.
Yeah. Yeah.
You and Sherman. Sherman is the only person who is more loved in Spenway Fitness than you.
Yeah, and that's because he sits at the front desk, whereas I'm in the gym doing stuff.
I'm trying to get him on here, man, because I want to understand how you can be so happy at all times. Like I'm a very happy person now, but this dude, I don't know if even when he's telling me about his bad day, he's got a smile on his face.
Yeah.
And I want to I want to understand that level of happiness, because I mean, this dude, he's just, I mean, yeah, we're not here to talk about him, but big shout out to Sherman.
We love him.
Yeah. So, how would your friends have described you growing up? I know you said in your family you were the glue, but obviously when you're with your family, you're one way, kind of sort of, but then like things are different when you're with your friends. How would your friends describe you?
My friends describe me as bubbly, somewhat outgoing, but like all my friends were the same overachiever type. We all were the school nerds. We all like to get really good grades and honor students and that sort of thing. So I don't think they describe me much different. They describe me a little bit as a giver, probably, giving towards others. So.
Oh, before I address that, let's talk about this wine. It's not bad, but it's definitely more closer to the dry side.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not leaning towards like a Moscato. But I know also you said like you didn't really deal with any trauma growing up. I know you had your issue with your brother, or not issue, but you had his thing going on. How did that affect you? I know you went to they advised you to go to therapy, but just personally, how did that affect you? Like dealing with all that kind of stuff and having to be the glue.
Yeah, I mean, it made me into a people pleaser. Like, if I did everything right, then my family life would be easier because I wasn't another complication to that. That makes sense. So if I did everything good, my parents would be less mad. If I did everything good, then maybe my brother wouldn't act out. That's not true, but it made me into a people pleaser. And it made me seek out God more, and so I had a strong faith from an early age because he was the only one that could potentially fix this.
Yeah.
And
Are things better now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Do you mind if I mean, it's up to you if you answer. What was the issue with him?
It wasn't just him. It was, in a family, it's a whole unit issue. My dad had anger issues and addiction issues. Praise the Lord, he's out of those now, and he's an amazing man. But my brother also struggled with anger issues, and then he would act out those anger issues, and there was a lot of fights between him and my parents. And if you struggle with anger issues, the fights become volatile. And so everyone was always really angry with each other. Maybe not always, but that's what it felt like. And so, and he did have some episodes of cutting. He even did have an inpatient stay because they were concerned about him self-harming. So I was always very concerned with what I could do to take care of my family, probably to an unhealthy level.
What do you mean to an unhealthy level?
Like the amount that I put on myself, the responsibility I put on myself as a child or a teenager, for me to be responsible for my family's health, happiness, that I can't always control.
Yeah.
It was too much for someone that age.
At what age do you think that changed? Still today?
I struggle with it still today. I noticed it and started working on it. I don't know, in my teenage years. But like to this day, I still struggle with overgiving and people pleasing and putting too much responsibility on my actions for other people's happiness. But I would say in my 20s was when I really started working on that.
So growing up, when you were going to therapy, did you find that was like productive, that it helped you?
Yeah, I wouldn't have seen some things to work on that I wouldn't have seen those without therapy.
Okay, what kind of advice did they give you growing up?
I mean, even simple things like coping mechanisms for stress, but also seeing how my actions couldn't control others.
Okay.
Or seeing, I don't want to say my worth, but seeing what I could control and what I couldn't, I guess is what I'm trying to say, mostly.
I'm curious, though, because I wonder if that led you to your like abundance of loyalty that you possess, because we're gonna get into loyalty later in the conversation. Okay. But I've noticed like you, or when you like somebody, or when you're, I won't say like that, but like when you are fond of somebody, like or somebody just even gives you the time of day, like conversation, and they invite you to something, you're very loyal to them.
That's a family trait as well.
Yeah. Okay. So I was just wondering if, like, that led to that because being the glue, you have to be kind of loyal in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, probably.
Okay. Did you play any sports growing up?
I played tennis in high school, but up until high school, I was kind of the chunky kid who had asthma and couldn't really do anything. I did track in middle school because I thought I could be a thrower, and there was a boy on the track team that I liked.
That you liked?
and then I played tennis in high school, and I enjoyed that.
Okay.
But I've been in the gym since I was 13. So.
Oh, for real? Mm-hmm. All right. So besides tennis and besides track, did you play any other sports?
Yeah. Oh, there was a 1-year stint of softball we try to leave that under the rug because it was not pretty.
It wasn't good?
It was not pretty, no.
That's what I would have thought you was going to say, like softball. I'm trying to imagine you playing tennis. Because I'm pretty sure you weren't as short as tall as you are right now. And you're not tall now. You're what, like probably
I stopped
4'11"?
growing when I was 13, so I was the same height that I am right now.
Okay, and how tall are you?
I'm 5 foot flat.
Okay, listen. I'm going to tell you guys now. Everybody says that women lie about their age. I think that women lie about 3 things. We'll just say 2. Age and their height. Because, listen, I don't believe that you're 5 foot.
Okay.
I think that you've got to be at least like 4'10" and a half. Like 4'11" maybe. Like,
okay.
I know you would love to be in the 5 foot so you could feel like a big kid. But listen, Kay, I've dated some short women and you're like right where they're at.
Okay, I'll get my doctor to measure next time. Last time I got
Tell
measured.
them to press the hair down.
Yeah, last time I got measured, they didn't press the hair down and it was 5'1", and I'm like, I don't believe that.
See, man, you're like Kayla, man. Kayla tried to sweep it down. She's 5 foot. Barely can reach the pedals. But no. So, did you have any boyfriends growing up?
Yes.
How was that?
I mean, the first.
Were they all like short stint boyfriends?
No.
Okay.
My first
I feel like you're like a long term. Even in high school, you would have been like the girl who was like, if you're not in it for the long haul, I don't want it.
I mean, my first like boyfriend that I called my boyfriend was late high school, early college, and yeah, we were together for a couple years.
Okay.
He was 6'2". He was not of my religion, and so both of our parents were not happy with that.
What was his religion?
He was Mormon.
Mormon?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's close, ain't it?
Differences. Pretty big differences once you start getting to know each other. But he went off on a mission, and we were like, we're good with being done.
The Mormons actually just knocked on my door not too long ago.
They're lovely to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah, they think they know it all.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you told me you were married before.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. So we're about to get real personal. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
You sure?
If I don't want to answer, I'll just tell you.
All right. So most people, when they go through like breakups or they go through problems, right? Mm-hmm. They're quick to point the finger.
Right.
In your marriage, what do you think that you did to cause the divorce? Or what role do you think you played?
So there's 2 main things that I think a marriage needs to stay.
Okay.
One is both people have to be working all the time to stay in the marriage.
Working on the marriage, you mean?
Yep, all the time, working to stay married.
Okay.
And the second is that in that, you both have to be able to fully express what you're feeling about your relationship and trust that the other person's going to try and meet those needs.
Okay.
So like an openness and honestness. That's where I struggled with.
Being like those 2 things, or just the last one?
The last one, feeling like I could say what I was really feeling about our relationship, communicating that clearly.
Okay. You know, I kind of agree though, because I'm not going to say who, because I don't want to give them any kind of credit on anything right now. Me and them are kind of like on not good terms. But somebody who I know who has a really successful relationship, they told me one time, they said, the key to a relationship is waking up every day and doing what it takes to make the other person happy, and not worrying about your own happiness. And if both parties are waking up each day doing what it takes to make the other one happy, then you both are happy. And there's no selfishness in a relationship. And that I feel like that is 100% true. If you guys disagree, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I know you guys are gonna like hate on me. And you know what? Let me just say this too. Pause for a second. This conversation. For all you people who like to DM me and message me your comments and rebuttals to the podcast, go ahead and leave it in the public comments and come on the podcast and we can talk about it. So back. I just want to put that out there because you would be surprised how many people message me and be like, I don't think that matters, or I don't think that this is, you know, and it's like, it's really kind of, I'm not a therapist, you know, I'm I'm not a therapist. I just created this podcast to get people to tell their stories with the hopes that somebody who watches can relate, learn something, or just not feel alone. And just to give people an outlet to tell their story, because we all have a unique story, And so I'm not a therapist. I'm just here to be a listening ear to try to understand and try to provide this for everybody. So, um, now, was your divorce messy at all?
I don't feel like it was. My
Okay.
my ex is a wonderful person.
That's good to hear.
And it was not fun to go through, and I would not say that divorce is easy in any way. But for a divorce, ours was clean. We both said, like, both agreed on everything once we were able to bring what we wanted or needed to the table, and it worked out just fine.
How long were you married for?
10 years.
10 years?
Yes.
You look old enough to be married for 10 years. How old are you again?
36.
36? Hey, you're right below me. 10 years. Oh, man, that's it's a decade. How long ago did you get divorced?
I think the divorce was finalized after 5 years, or 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
2020-ish.
All right. You guys don't have any contact anymore or nothing?
I mean, like I send a Christmas card, and if we needed to chat about something, we would, but it's not like we call each other on our birthday or anything. I talked to him a couple of years ago because he was working in a hospital. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in the medical field as well?
He's not. No. He's actually studying to be a chaplain.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Do you think that the issues that you had in your relationship in your marriage, do you think that those affected how you approach relationships now?
Yes.
How?
I mean, the things I didn't like about my marriage, I am eager to avoid in my current relationship. And yeah, mostly that, and then also like knowing the weaknesses I had in my marriage, I'm trying not to repeat those.
Okay. What's interesting is the fact that you refer to your weaknesses. Because like I said earlier, a lot of people like to point out to other people like, oh, he was a cheater, or she was this, and she didn't do this, and she didn't cook, and he didn't do this, and but I feel like if you're focusing on, when you do that, you're focusing on things that you can't change, right? And I feel like the approach that you're taking is focusing on things that you have control of. Because you can only control how you feel. You can only control what you do. And so I applaud you for that, for doing that. Because I see it so many times, like they'll be like, oh, I'm grieving. But then when you ask them, like, like what happened, then they're just constantly pointing out what the other person did, right? So if you're always pointing the finger and it's never pointed towards yourself, you're not pointing it. I'm not talking about the other person, but you're not pointing towards yourself, then you never actually work on you.
You never grow.
Exactly. You never grow. So you're going to do the same thing and have the same results, right? And we all know what the definition of
insanity
is, right?
Doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Yeah, so you wonder why you have some of the issues you have, because you're not working on you. Now let me ask you, with that said, how long was it between your divorce to your next relationship?
The waters are muddy because of when I met Corbin and like when we actually started dating and stuff. But it was pretty close after.
Okay. I'm not gonna judge you because I don't agree with waiting too long. Me, because like if I'm dating somebody and we split up, I can just turn those feelings off of you and be on to the next. And plus, because while you're over here grieving and that person's living their life, right, and they're moved on, they're happy and thriving. Meanwhile, you're over here. I used to tell people this: while you're focusing on your curse, you're gonna miss your blessing. You know what I mean? So I don't agree with that, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna say who, so that these people don't be all in my DMs if they're watching this. But I remember I was dating this girl, and when I say this, if she watches this, she gonna know who she is. I don't care. I'm putting her on blast. I was dating this girl. She cheated on me with her cousin.
That's pretty identifiable if they're the person watching, but okay.
But they need to be identified.
Okay.
I'm not just going to say their name, but they cheated on me with their cousin. We broke up. And then 4 days later, I was seriously talking to someone else. And then me and that person lasted for probably about 4 years until Jalen passed away. So now they know exactly who they are now. But I don't care, man. Listen, I'm all about integrity. So, but yeah, I don't agree with taking too long because I could die tomorrow. I want to die happy, and I don't want to die alone. So, if I break up, then hey, it's the next person. God sends the next woman. Hey, trial and error, I guess you could call it. Mm-hmm. So, how long have you and Corbin been together?
He was the next relationship, so we were 5 years. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Big shout out to Corbin, man. I love that dude, man.
I love that dude too.
I know you do, but I love Corbin, man. He is hilarious. He has the most funniest, quietest humor in the world, man. Every time I see him in the gym, it just makes me laugh. It's funny, man. It's hilarious. So how'd you get into powerlifting?
When my brother was a powerlifter before me, he never competed, but he was a gym powerlifter, and I thought it was. I mean, you know our definition of powerlifters.
Yeah.
You got to compete to be a powerlifter. I'm sorry, I said it, but he was a gym powerlifter, and we were working out together one day, and it was the coolest thing to see him deadlift 770 pounds, not from an elevator, but it was like a rack pull. Okay. 770 pounds, and it was so cool. And it just was like an integral part to me for what I thought was cool. It was impression. And then later, I got into some pretty disordered eating patterns. Okay. And I got into a 12-step program for my disordered eating patterns, and I said, if I no longer, tried to if food was no longer my God, basically, if I use my body in the way that God would want me to, what would I want to do with it? Okay. And I thought back to that 770-pound rack pull, and I was like, getting really strong would be really cool. Now, at the time, I thought that would also make me skinny, but we all have our journey. So I signed up for a powerlifting meet. I trained for a powerlifting meet and tried to lose weight to fit into a weight class, which was a bad mistake, but what
was your first weight class?
I think I tried to fit into, I think it was a 132. Okay. So
132?
132 pounds, yeah.
And what weight class are you in now?
A lot more. I was at 175 when I stepped on the scale this morning.
Okay. Because I feel like this, as when you're a powerlifter, the weight class that you start out in, if you keep trying to stay in that weight class, you're literally going to close the gap on how much you can grow.
I learned that.
Right? Because even for me, when I first started in powerlifting, I was in the, I started off in the 205s. Okay. Right? Was that 93 kilograms? Something like that? Yep. Yeah, right? Something like that. I started off in that weight class, and then I quickly jumped to the 220s. And then for about 2 years, I was in the 242s, the 110s. Mm-hmm. And what I'm realizing is this. I keep signing up for meets for right now. I'm currently about to compete. So if you guys are in the Washington area, come out and see me compete because my road to competing is coming to an end soon. I said it on camera, so all you guys who keep saying, oh yeah, Herk, you keep saying you're going to retire and then you don't, it's coming to an end. So you might want to come out and see me put on a show while you can. Mm-hmm. But I signed up for this, for the meet that I just did in February, right? I had to lose 55 pounds to make weight. And then I didn't even make weight. Right. Mm-hmm. And I had to compete in the 275s. So then, that was in February. And then so now, I'm about, 4 weeks out? Yeah. Roughly? Mm-hmm. And I got 16 pounds to lose to make 242. And I think I'm just going to, when I do come back to powerlifting, because I am gonna take some time off, a while, some time. I'm just gonna stick to coaching. Mm-hmm. I think when I come back, man, I'm just gonna be a 275er. the leanest 275 you ever seen. I'd be right there at the cusp, like 249. But I feel like you keep trying to fit into this weight class, a certain weight class, you're never gonna grow. Like I told one of my clients, I'm not gonna say who it is, but I told him, I said, don't design your journey based off of what people think that are making you think that you need to do. Like for instance, because he was like, "Oh, I want to be in this weight class because it's the most competitive weight class." Well, here's the thing: it's only the most competitive weight class because everybody is cutting down to be in that weight class.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But strong is strong, right?
Yep.
So if let's just say hypothetically, well, we all know that 83 kilograms is for men is one of the most competitive. Everybody wants to be in the 181s, which to me is like, why would you want to be that small? Um, no offense to you guys, it's just for me. I mean, I'm 260. That's small, you know. Um, so if you walk around at 200, then compete in the 198s.
You're gonna feel terrible, and you are not gonna hit your goals.
Yeah, and you're not gonna enjoy the sport.
Right.
Like, it's not. It's a sport, but for most people, it's a hobby. Let's be real here. It's a hobby. It's something to keep us healthy, keep us focused, keep us driven. When most of us are not making money off of powerlifting.
Right.
We're just doing it for health reasons and for social reasons.
Right.
And so, but now you're adding this extra stress to it because you're literally, oh, I want to be walk around at 205, but I want to cut down to the 181s, and then you wonder why the numbers you were hitting in the gym, you're not hitting that comp. But like I was saying is, if 83 kilograms to 181s is the most competitive weight class, and you're 205, then just be strong at 205 and then make everybody else, come up to your weight class.
Yep.
Because by cutting down to 181, you have now become a what? Follower. I don't cut down to 242s because I'm following anybody. I cut down to 242s because I haven't accepted mentally that my body just wants to be bigger. And I've then put on enough muscle mass and, body fat. Plus I have Graves' disease as well. So my weight fluctuates. But how many comps have you done?
Innumerable. I lost track. I've been competing for over 10 years.
God dang. See, this is why you're the godmother of powerlifting, man. Dang. And like I said at the beginning, y'all, man, big shout out to Kay. She's a state champion. Me too. You ever went to nationals?
I did go. Yeah.
How'd you do at nationals?
I was injured, so I just put a total up.
Okay.
But it was fun.
You gonna go back?
Probably not. I probably won't qualify for nationals until I get to the masters level.
Why is that?
Because my total is not high enough.
Oh. It's odd too because I've always told people, I don't know if I think I told you this, but I've always told people that to me, you and JB are the most technical powerlifters I've ever seen in my life.
We are very technically based, yeah.
You guys literally come in the gym and, I write programs for my clients and I have all these mobility drills and, all this stuff on there. And I watch them come in the gym and they don't be doing them shit. Right? My coach, he writes the same way. And half the time I'm rushing. I don't do it. I got so many different things going on. But you guys, it don't matter, man. You guys will literally go through your mobility drills and all your stretches and all this stuff. And if your time comes to an end, you'll be happy with that and go home.
It is not worth hitting your top set if you haven't set yourself up for success. If you haven't activated the muscles you need to activate, if you're tight and you're painful, it is not even worth hitting that top set because it's not what you're going to do in competition. It doesn't build your strength. And so that's why I go through those mobility drills. Maybe I only have time to hit one set that day. Or maybe I don't even hit my top sets if I'm short on time and I just go straight to the accessories because those are what build the strength. And I just miss out on the practice for that one day. But those mobility drills to hit your range of motion, decrease pain, and activate the muscles that you need to do. If you're not doing that before you hit your top set, you're hitting your top set in a maladaptive way, and it's not worth it.
That's me every time I train. Do you know how tired I am walking into the gym every day?
I mean, some days I've seen you walk into the gym, I get it, but my body does not recover at all if I don't.
I've said this recently to my mom and to everybody, to Kayla, to everybody. I said, this is the most busy I've been in my life ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, sometimes I don't even know how I do powerlifting. And I've questioned recently why I still do powerlifting. And then that's when I realized I need to step away. Because my focus, man, powerlifting, I love powerlifting. I love fitness. But this right here is my heart right now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's needed, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I even recently got caught up in, I didn't get that many views on my video. And then I had to ask myself, why am I so worried about that? Mm-hmm. When I started this because I want to help people. So if I get 1 view, I'm cool.
Yep.
If I get 1,000 views, cool. But that one person who watched it, they needed it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's why I started this podcast. And I want to stick to that. So all that's why this week, you saw what I used to do is I used to promote, like, recording this Thursday or whatever the day it was. And I mean, still now I'll be like, hey, like the video's out. I do that because there's a lot of people who don't have their notifications on for YouTube and stuff, that I know that want to watch the episodes. But actually going and asking people to watch and stuff like that, I'm gonna steer away from that. I had got caught up in that. Mm. I'm gonna steer away from that because I want to stay genuine to why I started this. I want to, I started this for a reason, man. Mm-hmm. Because of Malia, because of Jalen, and because of all the other people that I've lost, the people who you've probably lost people. Just all the people who are losing, and I don't want to lose anybody else.
Or even just the people who are hurting in silence without someone to support them.
Exactly. And on that topic, have you ever lost anybody who's close to you to mental health issues?
I've been blessed not to have that.
Which is crazy. The reason why I say it's crazy, I'm grateful that you have it. The reason why I say it's crazy is because if you recall, I started when we first met. I got up here and I started the mental health group. Mm-hmm. Remember? Mm-hmm. And man, you told me that you never battled with mental health issues, correct? Correct.
I have no diagnosed diseases. No.
Right. You've never been suicidal.
Nope.
Right. You haven't lost anybody who's close to you with mental health issues. But you were one of the biggest supporters of the group. And even of this podcast, I look at the people who watch it. I look at the comments, and never fails. K. Gray. You know what I mean? And why is that? Why does mental health, the topic of mental health, matter to you so much? And why is it so important to you?
Because it's one that has in the past been so often brushed under the rug, overlooked. Not talked about because it's a faux pas topic.
So what?
A faux pas, like a socially unacceptable topic to talk about, but it's so important. In my job every single day, I can help mostly with their physical stuff, and I can kind of help with their mental stuff. They work together, but I'm not a therapist, and these people are struggling every single day. And my friends, they're struggling. Mm-hmm. And I would love to be able to support them in any way I can. And that's why I support this, because you are one person trying to make a difference in one other person's life, and I will support that in any way I can for any person.
I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. So with that said, before we move on to some more fun topics, not necessarily, we're not going to move too far away from it, but per usual, as you see the podcast, you already know what's coming. What kind of advice would you give to somebody that is kind of going through it, just kind of like struggling? What kind of advice would you give them? They came to you and there's like, hey, Kay, or let's just say you said, hey, how you doing? And they say, to be honest, I'm having a bad day, and they kind of just open up to you. What kind of advice would you get back to them?
I want that person and any person who's struggling to reach out to their support group. If that's me, if that's someone else, I don't care. But I want them not to feel like a burden. So if you're struggling, don't hide. reach out to any person you think will accept you and treat you well, but reach out. I'm willing to talk to people. I'm not a therapist. I may not be able to help. I may just say, yeah, that sucks, but like, have a support group and don't feel like you're a burden when you're reaching out.
What does your support group look like?
I have two wonderful besties.
The Australian girl, right?
Oh no, she's a work friend. She's lovely.
Oh.
But I have two besties that don't always live here, but they are also Christians, and we've grown up together. And I can text them, call them in a moment's notice, and about anything, and they will be there for me with unconditional love and like positive regard, regardless of what I'm saying. I know they will accept me regardless. I also have my parents who are really good supporters of me and will listen to anything I have to say as well.
Now, when somebody reaches out to you about advice,
mm-hmm.
how do you know when to just sit back and listen and when to actually open up and give advice?
Oh, I start out with the sit back and listen. That is my thing. Just, I'm going to hear you out. Yeah, dude, that sucks. Dude, I'm here with you. Yeah. And that's my go-to. Like, I'm going to accept you unconditionally, positive regard, no matter what you say. And then if they ask, what do I do? Or I don't know what to do, then I might go into an advice. But my gut reaction is literally just, I'm going to be there with you and I'm going to sit with you in it.
I agree, because I think that, like, people often, when somebody comes to them with a problem or something like that, they open up to them, they feel the need to give their opinion back. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times your opinion can come off as judgmental. Right? Mm-hmm. Because your opinion is typically the opposite of what they are going through and what they're dealing, what decision they made to lead them into what they're going through, right? So a lot of times it comes off, like I said, as judgmental, and then therefore the people kind of like, I don't want to tell nobody because I don't want you judging me, or you're just going to make me feel bad, feel worse. I think that active listening is probably the most beneficial. Like, just letting the person just get it off their chest, mm-hmm. which is like what I'm doing with the podcast. Mm-hmm. Just get it off your chest, say how you feel, talk about your life, talk about your day. And I'm not here to judge anyone. I mean, we laugh and, might crack some jokes and I might call you a little crazy, but
it's true.
But I'm not judging anyone. Yeah. I used to be, you remember,
I do.
I used to be, I wouldn't say judgmental. I was just really aggressive.
You were hard on others, for sure.
Yeah, but you also probably remember me saying this. I said, especially in the gym, I said, I'm perceived a certain way in the gym, and I want to change that.
I remember you saying
that. I've literally done everything in my power to change that. There's still people who, look at me a certain way, and people are going to always have something to say. You're not going to appeal to everybody. You know what? If you want to make everybody happy, turn it to ice cream.
Except for lactose intolerant people. But
yes, they're still happy.
They're happy for a minute. Yep, for sure.
I think that I might be lactose intolerant, but I just bought two half-ounce ice cream last night.
And it
made me happy driving home. I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to crush this. Right?
But yeah.
But I'm serious. If you want to make everybody happy, turn it to ice cream, man. Because everybody is gonna always. You could change up to appease this crew, and they're gonna be mad at you. You can change up to appease them, and they're gonna be mad at you. You can say, you know what, the hell, I'm gonna work, just appease me, and they're both gonna be mad at you. Okay. Someone's gonna always be mad. So just live your life and stop worrying about trying to please people. Just do what you find to be moralistically correct, and ethically correct. That's how I feel. Because you can't make everybody happy. There's people that I know that we both know who are just never gonna like good old Herk. And it is what it is, man. Yeah. I have no ill will, and I have no ill intentions towards doing anything I do. I do talk a lot of shit in the gym, but that's because people want to walk around and call me Unc. Has anybody called you like Auntie yet?
I can't think of anyone that has. They call me Little Sis sometimes, but Little
Sis,
yeah.
I guess that's Ty.
Well, he's one of them, yeah. But like, I love that. I'm fine with that. Call me a family member. I'm fine. Call me Ate. Call me Little Sis. Call me whatever.
Yeah, nah, man. As a guy, being called uncle makes you feel old. Ever
Well,
since they started calling me uncle in the gym, I feel like my knees been hurting more. I feel like they gave me.
okay,
I feel like they gave me
okay,
knee problems.
okay.
I don't like it, man. I really don't. I don't like it. I know we were talking the other day. Are you gonna compete anytime soon?
I hadn't planned on it this year. I will compete next year, but I am enjoying how my body feels not being in competition mode.
Can't wait for that.
See, I mean, like you talking, taking some time off and just you can't even really call it rehab because it's not like one specific energy, but just like what injury, but like making your body feel good again underneath some weights.
Yeah. I do have one more question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, I have more than one.
Go for it.
But the first question I have for you is, I asked on the last episode, and you watched it. I know you did. You have two options: two choices, love or loyalty.
Okay, now hear me out. Hear me out. Because I thought about this when you talked about this.
Mind you, hold on, pause. Mind you, I don't give out any kind of questions ahead of time. This is literally a genuine conversation between the two of us and between every guest I've ever had on here. I've never sent out questions. I've never shown up with questions. We have a conversation and it goes where it goes. Because I can't. I explain this to people real quick before we get into that, right? How can I show up with a list of questions for you, right? Or just have a generic list of questions when your life, Jackie's life, David's life, these are all people who have been on the podcast. You guys' life are totally different. Your experiences are totally different. So how can I ask you guys the same question? The only question I ask all you guys is this: did you come from a 2-parent household? How was it growing up? Like the beginning questions, like the basics. Mm-hmm. But as the conversation goes, I can't ask you the other questions based off, that. That's one reason. Two, because I feel like people need to know that someone's listening, right? Mm-hmm. And if I have a list of questions, then that doesn't mean that I'm listening to you. I can only ask questions about what you're saying if
you're really listening.
Really listening. So go ahead and school me on this love and lust.
I'm not going to school you. I'm just hear me out. Hear the full thing. Okay, your definition of love that you talked about is a very human definition of love, and people have messed up that definition for you. And so when I hear the word love, loyalty is just an action to show love. So I'd rather have love because there's other actions than maybe just loyalty. I like loyalty. Loyalty is a good one. But loyalty, I feel can be twisted a lot. Same way that love was twisted in your definition that you gave.
But I also said that loyalty is the action of love.
You did. So you agree with me on we got some agreements here. We're not disagreeing. But loyalty can if someone gives you a really hard truth,
okay,
it can seem a little disloyal if they give it in the wrong way. But ultimately they are trying to be loyal because they're trying to love on you and make you grow. So I think they have to go hand in hand. I don't think you have to have them hand in hand. You cannot show loyalty without having true love for someone. And you cannot truly love someone without showing loyalty. You have to.
There you guys have it, man. I got no rebuttal. I totally agree. But that's not always the case.
It's not.
That's,
for sure.
I'm about to say about 95% of the time, that's not the case. Majority of the time, you either got people saying that I love you, but then their actions don't show you.
Uh-huh.
But the people who say that, the people who show you loyalty, because you don't walk around and say, hey, Kay, I'm loyal to you. That's just weird.
It just sounds creepy.
Yeah, like I'm loyal to you. Like, I mean, that's reassurance, I guess, but no one's really doing that, right? Mm-hmm. So their actions are showing you that they're loyal, right? Mm-hmm. And so those people, they never even, a lot of times people who are obviously true loyalty that are truly loyal to me, if I tell them that I love them, they don't even say it back. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, now I think about it, I can name right now 3 people who I've told I love them. They're very loyal to me. And they rarely ever say that they love me back. But their actions show me that they truly love me. They're truly there for me.
Okay.
So that's why I stick to what I said. But I totally agree with you, Kay. You might have had me stumped a little bit on that one. You got any questions for me?
Oh, I wasn't expecting this question.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. You got any questions for me?
Would you accept competing in powerlifting at a less competitive level? Like you said, I'm not going to compete. My competing days are done. Would you accept entering into a competition without being at full?
That's what I'm about to do right now.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, I think right now I'm training about 3 days a week.
Okay.
That's not prep.
Nope. But whatever.
I mean, I'm just being pulled like this, like so many different ways. But what I do have is a belief in myself, right? I have a belief in myself, and I treat powerlifting. A lot of people have the sport. You know, we've made it past 10 minutes, so I'm just gonna say it raw. A lot of people have the sport of powerlifting fucked up, and what I mean by that is they want to take the easy way out, right? Powerlifting is a measurement of your power, right? So if you know, and I tell my clients this all the time, and this is why we call ourselves, I don't care what anybody says, we call ourselves the strongest female powerlifting team in Washington. Because we might not have the strongest numbers, but we have the strongest mindsets, right? Because here's the thing: if you go to a powerlifting meet and your third attempt moves like this, or you should have stayed at home.
Okay.
If you ain't got no veins showing, you ain't making no crazy looking face, you know, you're not powerlifting. Okay. You're just following a fad. And that's what powerlifting has turned into. Because when I first joined powerlifting, I know when you joined powerlifting. I know when I joined powerlifting back in 2018. I remember the date that I joined powerlifting, October 18th, 2018, was when I decided to switch from bodybuilding to powerlifting. And when I joined, the community was so small. Everybody was uplifting each other, and there was just a whole bunch of strong people just, you know, trying to make each other strong. But it was so small. Like, I knew people as a powerlifter in Vegas at the time. I knew people in North Carolina, New York, Florida. People knew me. I flew to Dallas. People see me in the airport and they're like, "Oh my God, that's her." I had a girl at Spedway Fitness, man. And it's ironic because she acts like she don't know me no more. But and I'm not gonna say who she is. But she came up to me. She saw me in the gym, and she came up to me. She's like, "Oh my God!" She's like, "Herk, I never thought I'd ever meet you. I've been following you for like 8 years." And that's how small the community is, right? But now that's how small it was. Yeah. Now I'm like a damn near nobody in powerlifting. Right. I mean, no, I'm not a nobody. I'm just not at the top anymore. Right. You know, but I think that that's what people forget is that so at some point you're not gonna be at the top. Right. You know, and like a good old saying says, you know, for every hand you didn't shake on the way up, you got to kiss their ass on the way down.
I asked the question because you said your competing days are numbered. I want to compete until I'm 90, and not necessarily at the level that I have been competing at. Like maybe when I'm 60, I prep for 2 weeks instead of 12 or something like that. And maybe I'm not pushing my numbers, but I'm going in there and I'm doing the best I can until I'm 90 years old and can barely walk on the platform.
I would love to do that. But here's the thing. In order for me to do that, in order for you to do that, you have to truly love the sport.
Oh, yeah, right? Yeah.
Right? And I love the sport, but right now, I'm not focused on the sport.
Okay, that's fine.
And that's why I'm saying, like, that's why I said I'll be back. Oh, definitely. You guys know me. Come on. I didn't say retire like 3 times. I'll be back. And I think that 2025, at the end of 2025, my plan is to compete in North Americans. But I think that at the end of 2025, I think what's best for me, my children, my family,
Yeah.
my goals, the podcast, is for me to stick to coaching.
Yeah.
And because I have to stay, I just said this in the gym the other day, I have to stay connected to the sport somehow.
Yeah.
I have to. There's no way I can just step away, completely away, and then just be like, oh, well, not where's Waldo? Where's Herk? What happened to Herk? Like, that would just be weird. I feel like powerlifting, for the people who know me, I ain't gonna say on a global scale, but like for the people in our community and the people who know me, if I just completely just stop powerlifting, could you imagine that if I just stopped coming to the gym?
No.
Like,
No. I would be like, what's wrong with you? Are you okay?
exactly, people do that now, and that's just because I don't come as much. I mean, I used to be in the gym for like 4 or 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Now you see me come in and out,
Mm-hmm.
Quickly. So I have to stay connected to the sport, but I have to also do what's best for my mental health.
Yeah, for sure.
First, and do what's best for my family and for me to grow.
Yeah, for sure.
And right now I'm not growing. I'm being stagnant. I came back to the sport because after breaking my leg, I couldn't go out that way.
Yeah.
This is not me. And so I came out of a broken leg, cleared January 1st, compete March, whatever, so like 8 weeks later, competed, which was insane.
Yep, it was.
And then a week after that meet, someone told me that the Power Cup was coming, and that was the last meet I did before a year prior. So I was like, oh man, I gotta go back for some redemption. Even though I won that meet, I gotta go back for some redemption. So, no, actually, did I win the Power Cup? You were there. Do you remember?
No.
I still got the video where you said, "Thank you for inviting me because I got the deadlift."
Yeah, that was good. That was fun. I don't remember because I left before medals.
Oh, okay. But either way, I just need to do what's best for me.
Yeah, for sure.
So, right before we get out of here, because I want to let you get out of here,
Mm-hmm.
First I want to thank you for coming. But before we get out of here, what I want to do is something different than I've done on any podcast episode so far. First, what do you think about the podcast?
I love the podcast. Like I said earlier, it's you, one person, just trying to change at least one other person's life, and I will support that 100%. And I love that, getting to see other people feeling safe, being vulnerable, and even though it's going out on the internet, like I'm hearing their story, and they feel safe telling their story, and I think that's powerful.
All right, so like I said, I want to do something different. I know that you supported the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking back on the previous 11 episodes,
okay,
what episode stuck out to you the most and helped you so far? Or kind of like, I guess you could say, touched you the most so far?
Ooh.
The reason why I'm asking you this, and I'll tell you this after you tell me.
Okay. This is kind of sad, but it was the ones where I knew people because I got to know them deeper, like when it was people from the gym that I knew and just got to know them on a deeper level that I didn't normally. So I remember things about their story that I wouldn't have normally known.
That's how I feel sitting here right now. Right? But the reason why I asked that is because the whole purpose of my podcast is for people to learn something, and to help. I'll say for me, right, out of 11 episodes I've done so far, the episode that sticks out the most to me so far, I'd probably have to say it was probably the episode with Ty.
Yeah, that one was a good one. Oh, that was an emotional.
But there's
roller
two
coaster.
though.
Yeah.
There's two though. Probably the episode with Ty, and then honestly, probably the episode with David.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Ty, because that's my brother, man. That guy, Ty is he's an individual that everybody needs in their life. You need a Ty in your life.
Yeah, I can see
because
that.
he can go full scale comedy, crazy, like not like local crazy, but like just crazy. But when you need him,
He's locked in.
He can be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed that dynamic, both ends of the spectrum on that episode. Start off with the crazy wild shit.
Yes, it did.
And then, but he got deep, and then it got wild, and then he showed that. As for David, the reason why I say with David was because it's kind of like what you said. I met David at the bowling alley, and his story was kind of like I didn't know all that about it, and it made me view him differently.
Yeah.
Right. Because not knowing his story, I'm like this dude's crazy. He's just out there. That's what I thought. Like, I mean, I like David.
Yeah.
I mean, he's my boy. He's my friend. Still to this day, he's my friend. He's always been my friend. Cool people. But I just always just think like, man, when he be talking to me and stuff at the bowling alleys before that episode, I used to be like, man, this is crazy. David's wild. He's a loose cannon. Right? And after doing the episode with him and then going back and watching it, I understand him. And now he's still a loose cannon. Don't get me twisted. He's still crazy. But I understand why. You know what I mean? And I love him for it. You know, it just helps me to understand him. You know, so now, last thing before we get the heck out of here.
Okay.
Who would you like to see on this podcast?
I mean,
from the circle of people we know.
Okay, so we already talked about Sherman. For sure, I would like to see Sherman because I know some of his story and just the things that are in that brain of his. When they come out of his mouth, you're like, yeah, I didn't know there was that depth in there.
Yeah.
He's good.
Just can't be on a Monday because he always wears the same shirt as me on Monday, that leg day shirt. But go ahead.
He's only got 7 shirts, man. He's like a little brother to me. He'd agree. Yeah, that's number one that I could think of. I mean, I kind of like to see some Becca up in here, but I don't know how she feels.
Hold on, you said Becca.
Yeah.
Stand on Becca.
Okay, I'm going to stand on Becca.
All right,
because I love her. But...
Now, look. Grab your glass.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Now, I task you to help me get Becca on here. Becca, we're coming. Hey, look, guys, if you guys enjoyed the episode, go ahead and drop it a green heart in the comments. Kay, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you. I love you. I don't tell people that. You're the first person on this podcast I told that I love. And I definitely would love to have you back if you'd like to come back. But all you guys, make sure you guys protect your mental health. Take care of your mental health. Check on each other. And like Kay said, don't be afraid to reach out. And when people do reach out to you, make sure that you're not judgmental. Make sure you have your listening ears on. Like God said, He designed you with 1 mouth, 2 ears. That means that you should listen more than you talk. So make sure you guys are checking on each other. You guys be blessed. Like I said, follow us on Instagram at mindoveremotions_VDP. And on TikTok at mindoveremotions, the podcast. You guys be blessed. And see you again. Peace.